Good afternoon. This is Tom Turkey, Thanksgiving dinner. He's pretty adorable. I'm going to feel bad about this, but it's good to try and kill your own food. This is a giant, look at these soulful brown eyes. Stay tuned for step 2. Tom's worst day ever. Alright, this is our 5-gallon bucket with a hole in the bottom.
It's about 5 inches around. And we've burped Tom out. You got all the air removed from his air sac. You kind of want to push it and you'll hear the air coming out. And he's pretty calm. He might have some idea what's going to happen. But we're going to invert him in this bucket. And then ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Tom goes back to the earth and then he comes back as us in his next life.
Then he Alright. I think it's a two-person job. Alright, easing in.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the skin right here away from his neck. Elliot's going to put his hands over his eyes. I'm going to stick the knife in as close to the spinal cord as I can get and cut out. And then...
Alright, we're ready to defeather Tom here. You want water that's not boiling but not too cool either, somewhere in the middle. And
I think it's 140 to 160 degrees, somewhere in there.
So now you're going to give him a good vigorous dunking for 45 seconds or so. Get him all submerged.
And you dunk to make sure that you get water in between the feathers. If you don't do this, then the skin tears when you pull out your feathers. You want to pull out the big tail feathers and wing feathers first, because those are the hardest to come out, and as the skin cools, they'll be extremely difficult to remove. We can lay them on the table. And if you don't want to make a mess, make sure you have a bucket. Throw your feathers in. You'll need another bucket for guts later. So here we are. We've got Tom. He's all naked in his birthday suit. And we've taken out most of the feathers. We're going to do more of a thorough clean later. We've removed the feet. Elliot did that side. I did this side. Sharp knives are really important because you want clean cuts so that you can avoid this kind of stuff. Aesthetically, it just makes a difference. And when you eviscerate, some people like to leave the tail on. You can also cut it off, but you want to make sure that when you do cut, that you don't cut through the vent. That's the intestine, and you're going to have a lot of poop come out and get all over your bird if you do that. So what I do is I sort of make a couple of slits. You want to do one right below the breastbone, and just cut very slowly and carefully. You're going to cut through a series of membranes, and then you want to cut either under the vent here, or you can cut off your tail. The tail just looks less aesthetically pleasing if you cut it off, but carefully and slowly is the key. And basically, you're gonna, as you go along, you're gonna connect these two cuts, and then your cavity will be open, and you'll be able to pull out what's inside. You don't cut through the meat. Just cut through membranes. And as you cut, you'll see, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but you'll see the membranes there, and you're just slicing through those, sort of removing all the internal organs from the inner carcass. And then at a certain point, you can start to reach your hand in there, sort of move your fingers around, do with your fingers what you were doing with the knife. Those membranes aren't they're not hard to get through with your hand, so you just sort of want to separate All the while being very careful of that intestine. See it there? And then so once you've got those sort of pretty well separated, you can go over to the front, sort of pull his neck out a little bit, and you're going to want to make a hole here, and this is where he's going to hold his undigested food, if there is any. You can withhold feed for 12 hours before to make sure this is empty, but we didn't do that. So we're going to cut through very carefully. Take all that skin off the neck, save it if you want. Ooh, uh-oh, I made a mistake. I cut through where he keeps that undigested food. It's not the end of the world, you just want to rinse it off. It's just a little bit of grossness to deal with when you're eviscerating. Got some corn in there. Last Supper. You can stop. So what I did is I cut way below the crop, and I sort of grabbed the top half of what I can reach from there. Some people can pull it, you know, all the way out the front, but I don't like to do that because you risk, you know, dragging the intestine all the way through and opening it. And if you've done your job well, all of this stuff, when you're ready, should push out relatively easily.
Right out. Very impressive.
And there's still, you can sort of see them in here. They're little pink things behind the neck. Those are the lungs. I could be wrong about that. It's something important. It's an organ. Some people leave them in there. I like to just sort of scrape them out with my hands. They usually don't come out with the other intestines. And basically you can save your guts. You can use them in recipes, or you can, here, let me get some of this pink stuff so you can see. That's what that is.
That's the lung.
That's the lung?
I think.
Well, what are those two black things? Those two lung-looking shaped things?
Oh, those are, I think the lung-looking things are lungs.
This is the layman's turkey evisceration.
That's the pink thing. It helps the turkey do turkey stuff.
And once you get all this cleaned out, you want to rinse out your inside cavity. Those are the testicles.
I'm going to have to run low on battery. I got to change batteries pretty soon.
And rinse out the inside of your cavity and clean up your bird and cook it. That's pretty much it.
I just want to give it a really good rinse out.
Oh.